Hey guys, welcome back to MacTax. We have Jagruti here today, BitPay CFO. Pleasure to have you here.
Likewise, Justin. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, yeah. I'd love to hear a little bit about your background as an insurance partner working in an accounting firm and how you ended up at BitPay.
I joined BitPay about 2 years back or something. And prior to joining BitPay, I was an audit and assurance partner at Aprio. It's one of the top tier CPA firms based in Atlanta. I was there about 12 years, and my specialty was really technology companies. So I did a lot of fintech, software, SaaS, and blockchain started becoming a bigger chunk of what I was doing. So I got the opportunity to actually work on BitPay, our first audit client back in 2014. And really, that's how I kind of started my blockchain journey with BitPay. And I guess since 2014, I just figured that this is a very interesting space. And back in 2014, as you know, and most people know, there was really nothing out there in terms of guidance or guidelines for crypto companies. And, I saw what BitPay was doing, very innovative, very ahead of time. And I just, took this opportunity to learn more about the space and kind of educate myself and build a team in the space and see what we could do to help companies in the crypto space. So really started my journey with them, and fast forward many years later in 2020, I decided to jump ship and get all into blockchain and do more than just what I was doing in the audit accounting space. So joined them as a CFO, and very excited about the future of the company and the space in general.
That's awesome. I know it's a typical, I was at PwC prior to starting MacTax, and that's a typical path for tax and insurance professionals where they'll be working on the client and then they'll make a jump to the client. And typically that's a win-win because the accounting firm's happy, they got somebody they know is there, and hopefully they end up sticking around. 2014, that caught my attention. That is very early for crypto and blockchain. I know myself, I don't think I even knew what Bitcoin was back in 2014. I think people really started to find out when it had its first kind of big run up. I think it was 2017. And what was that like working on a blockchain company so early in 2014? And was the accounting firm skeptical of the technology? How new was it? Were people doubting it? If you could dive into that a little bit more, I'd love to just curious what that looked like.
Great question, and I guess the response will depend on who you ask the question. So this is, back then I was still an audit manager, and actually we started working on them before 2014. BitPay has been around 12 years. It's the oldest crypto payment processing company. So just kind of thinking of the, how BitPay started, right? The first company in the space, the first to do almost everything. And then back then, really, no one probably even knew what Bitcoin was. And then here we are, the auditors, trying to figure out how do you test something that you cannot touch physically? Like, how do I test existence? How do I make sure ownership of assets belongs to the company? And we didn't have any checklists, auditors and accounting firms. And, as you can probably also relate, we are used to some sort of guidelines and framework and some sort of checklist where at least you can begin from. We didn't have any of that.
Right. That wasn't in the textbooks.
Yeah, there you go. It wasn't. I mean, it probably still is kind of in progress right now. You don't find a whole lot in textbooks even now, right? But a lot of it back then, we kind of realized that this is the space that's here to stay. And obviously, a lot of companies came and a lot don't exist anymore. There's a lot that happened in the whole space since 2013, 2014. But one of the things we realized is, in order to do what we need to do to service clients, it was important for us to understand the space, learn the space more than what an accountant typically would do. Not necessarily become an IT auditor, so to speak, but work very closely with IT staff, IT folks to kind of bridge the gap in understanding the technology aspect versus what we need to do in terms of record keeping and auditing, so to speak. So I did end up spending quite a bit of my personal time studying the space, learning the space. In fact, funny story. I was a big time skeptic of Bitcoin back when I started. I was like, what is this? That something someone just created out of thin air, and now we are like trying to figure out how to test this.
Right. And now he's gone. Nobody knows who he was. Sounds
Right.
like.
Right. Well, and that's really what got started, and yeah, just I guess got into this rabbit hole, studied the space, and tried to help companies. Learned a lot from companies too, and tried to help peers educate what we learned.
That's something I tend to discuss when I talk to other accountants. Is if you're wanting to get into crypto and the NFT space, in order to help best serve clients, you kind of need to understand the tech a little bit. I'm sure you have a deeper understanding, but at least be maybe investing, buying a little bit, and just seeing how it works. Because without seeing that and just looking at the raw transaction history, it's like, what am I looking at here? You have no clue. I mean, in today's terms, you have no clue what Etherscan is or any of that. And I'm sure it was even harder to understand back then when there wasn't as much frequent trading. There wasn't as many articles to Google and read upon.
Yeah, convincing other partners to kind of understand this is what the space is, this is what it takes to I guess help service the client, and also getting the right kind of tool set to do what you need to do, right kind of softwares, which back then didn't exist a whole lot. So
right. How did you get a grasp on auditing something that you said you can't touch?
Yeah, well, great question. And a lot of auditors have already figured that out, and they kind of did back then. Without getting into too much details, one of the things we knew that we needed to do was test ownership and existence of crypto assets on the blockchain. And one of the ways to do it is, Etherscan, or one of the block explorers, right? That's an easy way to validate that a transaction occurred. However, that's an external source that we as auditors, one of the things from an audit guideline standpoint, if we are relying on a source like that, we need to know if the source is reliable. Number one, is there proper integrity of information? Does the platform have the right kind of audit certifications like SOC 1, SOC 2, which, by the way, most platforms don't have that even today. And back then, absolutely, the answer was no. So one of the ways was, should we as a company build tools to audit certain aspects of the entity? And we did. So to some extent, we had to figure out cost benefit, of doing that. Was it sustainable? And if so, then, what is it we need to do to kind of limit the scope? So figure out a lot of those things, and build certain tools to get through audits. Also relied on a few sophisticated service providers to kind of help us through the process and auditing a company in the crypto space. Yeah, so that was just kind of a high level of how we.
I'm sure sure the details on that were extremely difficult and very technologically savvy to have to work out.
Yeah.
Getting in, that's probably one of the biggest things I think people are going to be focusing on now as we move forward in this space is security, verifying ownership. With the fall of FTX, for example, how do we know that these platforms have the individuals and businesses' best interest in mind? Which I think something like BitPay, hearing that they've been around for so long, hearing your background in the focus on proving out ownership, how has BitPay evolved on the consumer side from an individual and business side of helping with facilitating crypto payments and holding crypto and digital assets, as well as this security side? And I guess that's a two-pronged question. And are you guys kind of leading the charge a little bit in some sense, because there is no real guidance out there, at least not probably to the level that you think there should be, and most professionals probably think there should be?
Yeah, no, great question. So I guess a couple of things, and maybe I'll just give a quick overview of BitPay and what it does. So about 12 years back, we actually started with just offering Bitcoin as a crypto where merchants like AT&T and Microsoft, they are customers of ours, can accept Bitcoin from their customers using BitPay's platform. So that's how we really started. 100% of our business was accepting crypto on behalf of merchants like Microsoft, AT&T, etc. Over time, kind of looking at the popularity of Ethereum, we added Ethereum and then a few ERC20 tokens. Eventually, we added about 5 different stable coins. So that's the other crypto that we support. So today we support about 13 to 14 different cryptocurrencies where we can accept these crypto on behalf of our customers. One of the things why merchants prefer this is they don't have to touch crypto because BitPay solves that kind of problem, right? In a way, they don't have to go through the accounting, audit, and tax considerations of having crypto on their balance sheet because all they get is a US dollar next business day in terms of settlement from BitPay. That was a business product that we started several years back. One of the other...
They never receive the crypto. They can choose to elect only US dollars, and that saves a lot of tax compliance costs as well.
Well, actually, if they choose to, they can get paid in crypto too. It's their choice. So we give merchants the option. Do you want US dollars? Do you want Euro, GBP, a few other foreign currencies that we support? Or do you want Bitcoin or Ethereum, whatever the case might be? We actually have I think about 7 to 8% of our merchants do take crypto or a portion of crypto. So like 90% of their settlement is US dollars and remaining 10% is Bitcoin. One of the reasons I'm assuming they want to do that is the best way to acquire a crypto is just that dollar cost average. You just get a piece of your payment in crypto, and another way to
timing the market, not timing the market.
Right. So that's that's one of the reasons I could see why they would want to do that. But again, like we do have a lot of enterprise merchants who prefer 100% fiat. It's just, they get their money, whatever they build, minus a certain percent fee that we hold back from the settlement. The other product we offer is where we disperse crypto as payroll. Or as vendor payments or cross-border international payments. And that's another way where companies who are looking to make payments, they could use crypto as a form of payment, and BitPay does that. In fact,
run their payroll tax returns and issue W-2s, and is all getting converted either to crypto or it's getting reported the US dollar equivalent on the payroll tax returns and the W-2s for businesses?
Yeah, actually, it's all US dollars. It's all converted to US dollar. From a tax reporting side, the receiver of the crypto and the company paying the payroll does not see any difference because we work closely with the payroll provider. Like, for example, in this case, ADP is one of the providers that we work with, and we make the whole process easy where ADP knows exactly what needs to be reported, even when crypto is paid out as payroll. So that process
that's really great. That's probably huge for NFT collections and creators to process payroll, and I'm sure it gives an advantage too to be able to settle transactions quicker. I always thought there should be some type of median where it'd be great if the dollar could be digital sometimes, and you could settle things quickly instead of 3 to 4 days with an ACH, or waiting until Monday when the bank is open again to see it post in your account. I'm sure that helps speed up the transaction as well.
Yeah, from a real-time payment standpoint, I think crypto can definitely solve that problem, right? NFT is different in the sense that, again, depending on how liquid is that NFT, the valuation considerations can, take this to another level altogether. But if it's like Bitcoin and Ethereum, you kind of solve the valuation problem just given the market cap these cryptos have. So it makes it easier from a reporting side as well.
Right. But I guess what I was trying to say is with an NFT project, they'll mint out a project, they'll get 100 Ethereum, and maybe they don't want to deal with the burden, the tax reporting, the converting. They may be able to just process payroll for their operations through BitPay is a good solution for someone like them.
That we could definitely give that a shot. Yep. Depending on the use case of the project. Yeah. We do have a pretty streamlined compliance process that we follow as we onboard customers, et cetera. So once all of that is cleared, yeah, I mean, definitely the use case makes sense.
Nice. That's pretty cool. That's something good to help bridge the gap between, people owning a lot of crypto, wanting to pay, and then bridging that gap with, compliance and payroll.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool product that you guys have.
Yeah. Your first your question, I think I kind of did a tangent on your question, but you're probably even asking about the consumer side. So there are a few products that BitPay does offer to consumers. And one of the things from a security standpoint, I think I heard you mention something on security, the custodial wallet versus a non-custodial wallet, right? So I think one key aspect is, if consumers are holding their crypto in a custodial wallet, well, they just probably need to understand the risk of who's really holding those assets, right? They don't have the private keys. So versus a non-custodial wallet where they own the private key, they can do, I mean, they hold the key to their wallet. So from that standpoint, BitPay does offer a non-custodial wallet. It's a free wallet and anyone can get it. And BitPay has no access or control over it. It's the user's wallet, user's key, and that is one of the things that we support.
That's awesome. So people can choose a custodial or a non-custodial with BitPay?
Yeah, like if consumers want to make payments using BitPay's platform, actually we are wallet agnostic. They can pay from any wallet. It could be Coinbase, it could be a BitPay wallet, it could be any other exchange accounts that they have.
Very nice. And what has been kind of your role these last 2 years? What's been your focus at BitPay? I'm sure on top of being just a general CFO, is there anything you're passionate about or something that you've already accomplished in these 2 years that's kind of moved BitPay forward in this direction of advancing more adoption of crypto and security?
Yeah, great question. Outside of crunching numbers, which typically that's what finance people do, I'm very passionate about the operational and strategic side of the company and where we are headed. Very excited about that space. And also, I think with my experience, kind of knowing the technology to the extent that a finance person would know, not necessarily developing and coding, but my background working with probably over dozens of crypto companies and then coming to BitPay and taking them to the next level in terms of sophistication. I'm very passionate about that and excited to be part of the journey and the team there.
That's awesome. I know. So part of what I do is help businesses stay in compliance with their tax reporting, whether it's businesses or individuals, whether they're, running a crypto type business where they're accepting payments in crypto and paying expenses in crypto, ordinary income, ordinary expenses, or they're a trader or personal, just some side investment in crypto, gains and losses, maybe some other income, some small crypto rewards, staking rewards, airdrops, and in the NFT world. The tax reporting can be quite involved depending on the volume and the nature of the transactions. Also, it's the very first question on the U.S. Federal tax return. Have you bought, sold, received anything with using crypto? So it's a very low bar for reporting. There's no de minimis rule. You need to just report everything, and everything is a taxable transaction with the exception of purchasing crypto with US dollars and self-transfers to and from wallets, assuming no fees were incurred as a capital loss there. Do you find that the customers of BitPay are experiencing or acknowledging that there is like a lot of reporting, and whether it's tax or legal requirements now coming along with it as we reach further adoption of blockchain and digital assets with more and more people?
Yeah, I think so, and especially now more than earlier, as there's a little more guidelines now than before. So there's clearly more clarity, more visibility. There's more enforcements, right? I mean, if you just think about IRS, they recently had a significant increase in their resources And we know for sure they are a lot more savvy now than they were many years before. They have a lot more information and access to information now, right? So it's coming. I mean, it's. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more enforcements down the line. More inquiries on tax filers who have probably not done a great job reporting what they needed to self-report. So kind of keeping all of that in mind, it doesn't. I definitely think there's a lot more sophistication, even from a tax filer or a consumer standpoint. The the importance of how you track the information. Many times it may not be intentionally not reporting something. It just may be they just didn't have the right kind of data source or way to gather the information or even retain the information to report what they need to report. But that's changing. I mean, we're definitely seeing that.
Right. The burden is on the taxpayer versus getting a 1099 from your stock brokerage account. We're starting to see some of our clients receive notices from the IRS from the 2021 tax year where third-party information is being reported and there's no basis in the trades. So the IRS is assuming the least favorable because there's no crypto reported, and it's assuming 100% gains on the proceeds of a sale when in reality they purchased it for some amount at some point. So the basis really is not zero. But you have to tell the IRS as an individual or business what you did in crypto. Otherwise, they're going to tell you for you and they're not going to make it the least favorable as possible, especially if you didn't do the reporting. One thing I noticed BitPay is doing, we use Zen Ledger. We're partnered with them and tax professional through them. You guys recently have a partnership as well with Zen Ledger, which is part of solving this hurdle, like you said, of not knowing and getting all the information in one place to do the reporting, tracking cost basis as you move crypto from one platform to another. How is BitPay partnered with Zen Ledger, and how is that helping people stay in compliant and do the right tax reporting?
Yeah, so one of the things that we offer to consumers is so through BitPay app, which anyone can download for free. Users or consumers have the ability to buy crypto, to swap crypto. They can also sign up for a prepaid debit card where they can load their crypto and it gets converted to fiat instantaneously. So we have users who are obviously getting in our platform doing all these things, right? So one of the primary reasons to partner with a company like Zen Ledger was to give our users the ability where they can use a platform, number one, to aggregate all their crypto transactions in a software that can calculate cost basis, that can calculate realized gains and losses, and makes a tax reporting easier. This is even before before I joined BitPay. One of the common challenges I saw with a lot of crypto hodlers or users was it's kind of rare that they have just one account, right? They probably have multiple exchange accounts, multiple wallets, the transfer in and out between just their own wallet, which is not a triggering event for tax purposes. And all of that is likely tracked in Excel, maybe if you download everything, if you're able to download everything, fine.
You have a very ambitious person, maybe, but most of
right. Or maybe, just, I don't know, like lot could happen when you have a lot of transaction sitting in multiple different accounts, and a platform like Zen Ledger, we figured will make it easier for our users to aggregate all of that in one system where it just makes it easier for consumers to do their tax reporting.
Right, exactly. Even moving crypto and any digital assets to and from a ledger or a cold storage wallet you need to track your cost basis as it moves to and from. This way, when you do eventually sell it, you can properly calculate your gain or loss. So that's a great thing that kind of BitPay is doing. It's kind of, I feel like we're slowly making steps as the whole crypto space to streamline and kind of tee up the next step of everything consumer business needs to do to ensure that they're compliant from a legal side, a tax side. This way they can keep focusing on what they want to do. And as this, I feel like, gets more and more adopted, the solutions are going to keep getting better and better, and we'll eventually get more guidance. I want to get to new IRS guidance on NFTs, but before I do, what are your thoughts on the current NFT market, and how is BitPay helping NFT creators and buyers?
Yeah, great question. So I haven't had a chance to dig a whole lot into the NFT space from a NFT creator standpoint, but the NFT hodlers or holders, I think one of the things from a tax standpoint specifically, it's no different than property, right? I mean, that's how it's kind of viewed as. So if you bought NFT, you sell it at some point, you're going to be taxed on it, short term or long term, depending on how long you held it. I think the biggest question or the biggest thing with anything NFT, whether you're a creator or a just someone who's buying and selling, is the valuation aspect, right? And that's where I think there's a lot of, it's a gray area. Like, how do you value something that it doesn't really have an active market, like an active market like a Bitcoin or Ethereum, so to speak, right? Or any other stocks or securities. There's a lot of judgment involved, right? And I think that's where it kind of gets gray, and lack of guidance just makes it a little hard. And in terms of BitPay, again, with BitPay, we are not, I wouldn't say focused on NFT, so to speak, but it's a digital asset. So we support, 13, 14 different crypto assets. We support NFT platforms. If they want to accept payments and be settled in US dollars or any other fiat, that's something we do. So from that standpoint, we help out platforms as needed.
Gotcha. Yeah, everything right now is property, and the new IRS notice is 2023-27 is the look-through analysis to classify some NFTs as collectible based on what is the NFT actually providing for its utility value. Is it linked to a real collectible in a storage unit somewhere? So hopefully we get some guidance in that side of the digital asset space of NFTs, and maybe they hopefully take this look-through analysis all the way through. So if you're buying a ticket, it can be an expense for a business, not considered property, and you have to sell it to realize the gain or loss, or you can just expense the whole thing up front as opposed to capitalizing it as property. It's great that BitPay does support too. It's easier adoption, easier for compliance and reporting purposes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the classification is, I think that is huge too. But again, pending guidelines, which is subject to change, and it might be a little while before something really concrete comes out. I kind of look at, this is a little tangent, but like FASB from an accounting side, they recently came out and said that they'll likely consider fair value for crypto assets, which was not the case up until now, where companies were having to treat crypto assets as intangible assets. So you record that at lower of cost of market and impair the asset. So it's changing. A lot is changing in the space, and I think it might be not too much longer wait time, but concrete guidelines on both tax and accounting will definitely help.
Right. And I think the whole valuation, like you said, with NFTs is hard because it's not as much of a liquid market. You have typically a floor price and the top bid, and there's buys and sells, typically on a collection of 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. It's not nearly the supply and live update for a fair market value as crypto would be. So maybe there might need to be some delineation in the guidance, whether it relates to crypto or NFTs, as opposed to lumping it all together as property. The IRS guidance is asking for comments from the public from now until June. So like you said, I think we're not there yet, but we're getting there. We're getting closer as to more guidance.
Yeah.
So speaking on that, we touched on it a little bit. What are your thoughts on the future of tax and assurance when it comes to crypto, NFTs, and blockchain in general?
Yeah, blockchain is definitely here to stay. Distributed ledger technology has, very unique features and attributes, and crypto is just one of the applications of DLT or blockchain, right? I mean, if you kind of look at just blockchain in itself, it has amazing subledger capabilities. So I don't think that is going away anywhere. I think what will change eventually is the use case. A few use case, and I think those use cases will continue to become more sophisticated. More thought will be given, and it's already given in the very initial stages of building something versus after the fact. Several years back, we saw the ICO bubble, and it kind of bursted in a not really great way. But I think at that time, what happened was everyone wanted to do something in the crypto space, and here's a white paper, here's a token, and you go do things, and it's not done the right way. I don't. I mean, I think that environment is changing a lot and very quickly, and we are seeing a lot more sophisticated players in the space who are using blockchain and crypto for the right reasons. So I think that will continue to evolve with more regulations, more clarity. It will just help, I think. I mean, yeah, it will not be easy path. And with regulations, it's also not going to be one size that fits all. And it'll probably take a lot of time to kind of customize regulations based on uniqueness of the business. But eventually, I think we'll get there. Yeah, the sophisticated players who can stick around, up until then, I think there's definitely a more optimistic path forward.
Right. I agree. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of players sticking around. I mean, BitPay people still need to make their payments, taxes still need to be filed, and crypto still needs to be reported, whether the market for crypto is going up or down. So there's still a lot of people building in this space during the downturns, during the upswings. I think the blockchain is crypto and NFTs, like you said, they are just good examples of all the things that are getting built on top of these technologies, and then you have other technologies being built as layer 2 on top of layer 1 applications, which is pretty incredible. So I guess what is next for BitPay? You guys will continue to grow and support more payments and more currencies and more digital assets. Is that the plan?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, right now, that's really what we are focused on is, making. So one of the ways to help crypto adoption is making it easier for consumers and merchants to accept crypto. And then that's what we are designed to do. We just make it easy for the companies who don't want anything to do with crypto on their books, because we take that pain and we deal with it. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of our focus, like educate and innovate, and keep our eyes and ears wide open to see what our consumers and what our customers, merchants want, and what can we do to help them with their business. Like one of the things that feedback we hear from our merchants is with letting their consumers pay with crypto, which is another form of payment, they're able to see an increase in their sales. They're able to see an increase in share of their checkout. And we're like, okay, well, that's great. So it's clearly helping our customers as well. And we just want to make that experience really easy for them.
That's great. So if a business is listening right now and they want to get started with accepting crypto or paying out in crypto, how can they get started with BitPay?
Yeah, they just go through our onboarding process. We actually, depending on the size of the business, there's a self-onboarding flow where they can just literally sign up on our website, and it just takes them through the entire flow. They can reach out to one of our enterprise, account managers, and they can handhold and walk them through how they need to sign up. Again, we are a regulated business, so we do have compliance requirements that, we kind of verify. We do the KYC, KYB. If all of those check the box, then they are ready to be in business, like, start accepting payment the very same day or next day after onboarding.
That's great. That's amazing. You see this as like when businesses start accepting credit cards, this is just the next step in easing the burden of business and customer relationship of transacting?
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually think of BitPay as a very similar to a credit card processor, except that we are crypto in the mix. But yeah, I mean, it's from a flow standpoint, or it's kind of similar there.
That's great. Yeah, I don't know any business that wouldn't want to get paid quicker or make it easier to get paid from their customers. So it's really helpful to know. You don't need to know a lot about crypto, and you can start getting paid. So did you have any questions for me here before we wrap this up?
No, I think you covered pretty much everything. It's good to see people enthusiastic about this space, and always good to have a conversation this way.
Yeah, of course. Hopefully we brought some value to people, educated everyone a little bit. If you're a business out there, maybe consider signing up for BitPay, get started. You never know who might walk in and say, I want to pay with crypto, or you get a new customer, and that's one less pain point for your customer. You're already set up, ready to accept that payment. Or pay out items in crypto if you're a business that is holding a lot of crypto.
Yeah.
But it was great to have you. It was great to chat. Hopefully we get to do this again soon.
Likewise. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.